We are on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Lounge podcast. You're here with Raluca and
I am Sally. Thank you for tuning in. We're always excited to share with you another topic from the Mindset Lounge, our virtual lounge here with my friend Raluca. How are you today? It's lovely and sunny outside.
well, yeah, I was actually out with a friend earlier. Yeah, I feel different. I must say that this brilliant weather helps a lot.
Definitely. It's what the mindset needs.
Mm.
It changes everything, changes everyone's perspective as well of their day, their weekend. Okay, so we are here with another topic from the series of problems, but today is very special because we've never tackled men's problems. Do you want to share why we chose to discuss this topic today?
Why not? Asking me why, my answer is going to be because I care, because I'm a mom of a boy, because I live with a man, and because these two men are extremely important to me. That would be one aspect. And the other aspect, which is very important, I think that we as women cannot expect men to understand our emotions and to match our energy or to connect with us at a deeper level if they cannot understand their own emotions and they cannot overcome or recognize their problems.
What do you think they face the most, men?
Well, there are many problems that they face, especially in our dynamic world, current dynamic world. But I think one of the deepest would be being vulnerable, because men were raised to be stoic. They shouldn't be weak, they shouldn't cry. And this reminds me about my mom saying to my son when he was small, "Oh, don't cry, men don't cry." Yes, they do. And yes, they feel just like us. They are human beings. So I think
we can't suppress their emotions.
Yeah, being emotionally exposed is being seen as a sign of weakness, which personally I don't believe. I see it as a sign of strength. Being able to be yourself, it's a sign of strength for me. What do you think?
Yeah, the social expectations really put a lot of pressure on everyone, but in terms of men, and I think this could be a cultural thing as well. Maybe we face that, both of us, in either in Romania or in Egypt, where I come from. Yes, be a real man, act like a real man.
Yeah, but what is a real man today? Because they definitely don't have to go outside and hunt for food and fight to protect their home every day from other tribes. And I mean, what's a real man today? Isn't it?
So this is a thing that social expectations have put. I feel like they've boxed the man or labeled men in certain categories, even at work. Men have to provide. Men have to be the main breadwinners, and there's all the have to that comes with it, and they can't be vulnerable. They can't, as you said, show their weaknesses. But who said these are weaknesses?
Yeah. According to whom? That's a good question.
I know someone who's with their family with his partner decided that she will go out and work to be the main breadwinner. That's here in the UK. And he's been the house husband, stay home dad, take the kids to the school, bring them back to clubs and to everything. And they live happily. And the kids are absolutely brilliant, doing great at school. But I've imagined if this person was living either in Egypt, where I come from, or in other Middle Eastern countries, or even 50, 60 years ago, anywhere in the world, how would he be living?
Well,
I think personally, he wouldn't dare walk in the streets. It will be very embarrassing for him, and that will lead maybe to him lying about where, if fine, like he's working or other lies, and that will affect his mental health. That's for sure. But why not? When you think about it, why not?
Yeah, I think.
Why are we putting burden on him?
Sometimes people don't consider the partnership of a family, regardless of the type of family. It's a partnership. So whatever they decide, it's best for them and their environment, that's fine. If it works for them, it doesn't have to work for the rest of the neighborhood. It's not about that.
And no one knows the dynamics of this family. Or maybe he has health issues. There are so many maybes that with our judgments and expectations, we just ignore all of that and attack the guy.
Yeah. And because you mentioned health, I would go to the mental health problems of men, which are obviously many times originating from suppressing their emotions. What do you think?
I see that a lot. I see that in the culture and with my son as well. As you said, men don't cry. Men have to speak up loudly. Men shake hands strongly, like all the shoulds that maybe my son doesn't want to react the same way. But I don't want him to feel the pressure. I want him to express his emotion. He's only 8, so when he feels that pressure, it's going to affect him a lot when he grows.
Yeah, I think because of this societal pressure, men are reluctant to seek help and to recognize that they are depressed or they experience anxiety. And anxiety is a constant in our lives today, regardless of what sexual orientation you are. We are anxious.
But that's not even allowed. So if you go seek help, mental health help, no. That's not allowed either. Their weaknesses can't be shown, can't be revealed. If you go to seek help mentally, then something is wrong with you.
Yeah. And
it's not because you need it.
If we look at the numbers, the number of men committing suicide is about 4 times, 5 times higher than women committing suicide. And I think this speaks for itself.
After the pandemic and the lockdown as well, and people in general, when men and women losing their jobs or having to stay home. But when a man loses their job, it's much, much harder to accept for some reason. Another friend I know, he has lost his job and he felt that he's let the family down, started doubting himself, and was very, very stressful for a very long time. While the wife was amazing, very supportive, trying her best to save, all of that. But the lack of respect he had for himself, for letting his family down, was just unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure that was his belief and his feeling that he let the family down. Because if you look from the outside, in a family, there are problems appearing, either from one side or the other. Doesn't matter. At some point, both members lose their job or have a career, I don't know, break or health problems. Or if we believe that we let our other half down, we are not going to get anywhere. Why? But the main question is, why do we believe this? Why do men believe that they are letting the family down, or they should be different, stronger, less vulnerable? Why? Because
It's back to the expectations, back to the social, the standards that have been imposed from ancient times.
Stigmas,
that men has to be strong, men have to be supportive, men are the main breadwinner. While nowadays, with the open-mindedness and the diversity that we have, it's not the same.
Yeah, and this leads me to another major problem that men face is the fatherhood and parental rights of a man, because they face more challenges than women when it comes to custody. And
it's as if they're not partially responsible for their children.
Yeah, and it's again related to the society's expectation around fatherhood and caregivers' roles. I mean, only the mom can know. There are moms that shouldn't even.
Did you know that now you mentioned fatherhood? Fathers find it very, very difficult, more difficult than women with work-life balance when it comes as a father, because they feel
Why?
they're missing, because they have to, so they have to work late, and maybe have to work 2 jobs to provide, and they miss out on the family time. So from research, it showed that fathers actually suffer more burnout and overwhelm, which leads to lack of work-life balance when it comes to their children.
I do agree with that. I think that balancing career demands with family responsibilities is more difficult. I would use this word, especially in traditional cultures.
How did you grow up? How much was your father around?
Well, my father wasn't too much involved, neither in my education, neither in being the main source of income in the house. So my family wasn't a traditional one from this point of view. My mom was the one that always earned more money. But yeah, it's different. It was a bit probably strange to accept the fact that his wife is always the one earning probably double from what he was earning, if not even more. So yeah, it was a bit different. What about you?
Nice. My father was a workaholic. He would work probably 15 to 16 hours a day.
My
You only
mom
see
was
him
like that.
on Sundays. Yeah, Sundays and holidays, maybe when we go on holiday, which was, now I'm thinking about it, I'm so glad that my kids get to enjoy their father. It's very important for us as a family, and I'm sure for many other families, to have both the mother and the father in the family constantly, and sharing responsibilities. So it's okay if my husband takes the kids to clubs while I have a call or a client, or while maybe that wasn't the case and isn't the case in some households, because no, I don't do clubs. Men don't take kids to birthday parties. What other myths have you heard before about men?
Well, I think the more important one is that men shouldn't cry, and society pictured that hard rock person that couldn't bend to anything. But men are human beings. And looking at my son as a child, I'm happy I got to change the paradigm with him, and I encouraged him to express his emotions. I validated his emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel anger. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay. It's okay. However, when he was very small, due to the fact that his father was missing from the picture, my son experienced a few moments of, let's say, how can I say it? He was too small to understand what he was feeling. And luckily, I've been able to recognize those moments and to get help. And he was seeing a psychologist. He saw a psychologist for 2 years while we were in Romania. And he managed to get that help, to understand his emotions. And how I recognized them, everything was turned into anger. He was not using colors while drawing. He used only black. And
Wow, very
those
interesting.
were major signs, red flags for me. I did study psychology a lot in university, and that knowledge helped me recognize that something bad is going on. I managed to get that help for him. And yeah, it's hard because he was only 3 back then. And what do you know at 3? How can you express your feelings? So yeah, that's why I didn't even try to work with him, knowing that I'm not going to be objective. I'm his mom. So yeah, he got help.
Another myth I like, a funny one, the man flu. When men are ill, they are like a woman giving birth, like
Yeah,
dying in bed, and maybe their tolerance could be at days less than us, but us women. Um, but yeah, this is another thing that we use it in a sarcastic way about how they feel without realizing that we're actually hurting that person by the words we use. Another one is men are selfish. Why are we generalizing?
exactly. Women are as well.
Why
So
are we? Well, anyone could be selfish.
yeah, yeah.
But here is the thing that really surprises me, how men actually deal with challenges.
I think they deal with challenges just like any human would do, but they have the tendency to close their emotions in a box, and that tactic usually backfires. You can't.
Mm.
You can't. You're gonna explode at some point.
Research showed that they either exercise, do any form of exercise, or keep themselves busy
Mm.
just to overcome any problems or challenges, or which unfortunately leads to feeling lonely, and that will lead to depression, anxiety, chronic stress, and you name it all, which again takes us back to mental health issues.
Yeah, I think everything is around that, and one major thing that um, men have to deal with is violence and crime, literally, because they are more likely to be both perpetrators and victims. And when I say this, I mean all kind of violence, domestic abuse, assault, homicide. You will see more men involved in this than women. So there's a problem. But to be able to commit a crime or to be the victim of a crime, you have to be in not a good place. You're either locked inside or you explode. And yeah, we are going back to mental health.
Well, in the
And
past year, how we've sure you came across in the news how many crimes there has been in parks, and especially in parks around teenagers and children, and
Yeah.
they all back to men with mental health issues. And in 2022, the rate of men committing suicide has been recorded as 16.1%, which is huge.
It is. It is. That's why I said it's 5 times higher than in women. And that's the problem
now
when
that
you encapsulate those emotions.
Mm.
You either pop, you either succumb under your own pressure. So it doesn't work like that.
So now that we've looked at the challenges and what society does and what expectations and standards it imposes on us and how men deal with it. For us, we can't change the entire society, obviously. But what do you think we could do as maybe partners, women in the same household as the men, wives, friends? What could we possibly do to help men?
Well, sometimes reassurance is not enough. We need to create that environment. I mean, it's not enough to tell your man, it's fine to feel angry, it's fine to be stressed. No, we need to create that environment in which they feel safe to express their anger or their emotions, basically. And I think safe space is one of the major things. Because if they don't feel safe in expressing or recognizing, they won't even start that introspective journey. If they don't feel safe to do it, they won't think about it. But if we create the right environment for them to cool down, they will be able to recognize in themselves what's going on and let it out. I think that's
Active
really
listening.
important. Yeah.
Active listening is definitely important. And when you listen to your male friend or partner, you might pick on some hints if they have issues. And if you're close and enough to them and there is that rapport, you might advise them as well to seek help.
Yeah.
And nowadays there have been a lot of support group for both men and women. So we really encourage you, dads, men, any male, just join any of these support groups. You don't want to feel lonely. You're not meant to walk life alone. So joining one of them groups is really, really beneficial. You will be connected with like-minded people who will have similar issues, or you will just feel part of the community. And it's okay to seek help. It's not going to affect any of your characteristics as a man. In fact, it's a stronger step forward that will help you and will help your family. That could be
family,
even
friends, your
reaching
whole
out for a
environment.
friend. Yeah. Call a friend, call us. Anyone you feel like you want to speak to freely, please do so.
However, because you mentioned call a friend, I do notice, and I've noticed before as well, the fact that even if you see men chatting with their friends, they don't chat about their emotions.
Good point.
And guess who enlightened me with this? It was my son. My son told me that, because I asked him at some point, he's on the phone all the time chatting. Anyway, he has a good environment, but I asked him about one of his friends, how does he feel? And he said to me, how should I know? We never talk about this.
Interesting point.
Yeah. So
what did you reply?
Well, I told him that sometimes it's important to check with your friend how they feel, because maybe nobody asks them.
I think that's where practicing mindfulness comes, because if you take a moment and maybe practice breathing, you will connect with your soul and you can check what's happening, because emotions don't own us, but we need to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
What's happening now?
Men weren't designed designed to focus on emotions, and that's the hardest part, and that's a thing that affects not only their mental health but their health, because they are, according to the statistics, they are less likely to seek preventive healthcare than women, and they ended up with a shorter life expectancy. So, dear men, please look after yourselves. You are really important for us.
It's part of your well-being and healthy lifestyle is to look at what's happening. What are the triggers that are making you feel anxious, unhappy, stressed? Don't ignore them, because if you ignore them, you're only making the situation worse. And speak up. Remember that no one has anything to judge you. They have no rights to judge you. Just speak up and be surrounded with people who love you, who care for you, and do something that you love that will make you happy.
I think the environment is really important, and not only for men, but for everyone. Being in the right environment where you feel safe to be yourself, that's where you should be. If you find yourself around people who judge you, look deeper, leave that environment if you can. If not, try at least to build a different community around you who appreciates you for who you are, for who you really are.
And calling all women, please give your men space, listen to them, stop asking and expecting too much from them. It's all about partnership.
Yeah.
We're in one community, and you're setting a great example for your kids if you do so.
Yeah, and also educate your boys. Educate your boys to recognize, to live their emotions, not to suppress them. We can change the world slowly.
A good question maybe to ask at the dinner table is, what makes you angry? So you start checking in with yourself, with your kids. What makes you angry in general? And maybe this is something to avoid as well. Once you know what makes the person in front of you angry, you will avoid that.
This is part of getting to know the person around you, the people around you. But yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge feelings, and to be vulnerable is not being vulnerable, it's a sign of strength. To be able to be yourself, it's a sign of strength. We are here to support you.
Absolutely. We're very happy to have shared with you today just a glimpse of the problems that men have and the challenges that they have in our society, because we wanted to raise awareness of the men as well as us as one community and acknowledge them. See you in another episode with a happier topic
Around problems.
and another problem to tackle.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being with us today. I hope our podcast helps you at least to see that there are ways, there are different approaches. Not everyone is the same. And
don't forget to hit the subscribe, because you really don't want to miss any of our episodes that yet to come. And if you haven't watched already, go back, watch the old ones, and keep in touch if you would want us to talk about any problems or challenges that you have, or any topics in general. We will be very happy to do a podcast, do an episode for that.
see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.